Do you know what I miss? Tequila and cocaine.
Do you miss it though?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I miss it for like the first 3 minutes of doing it, and I hate it. So I don't miss it at all.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing ever. Like not doing those things. It's great.
Could you imagine trying to give a blowjob with a wig on? What?
You already messed it up.
I think you changed my mind.
It's a no.
The way that they're orgasming is so intense. Like, is that real?
No.
Hey, come to jerk
Nothing
me.
in porn is real. Shh. I hate to be the one to tell you this.
Leave my fantasy alone.
I feel like I just told you Santa Claus
I
doesn't
know. I thought they were really
What?
enjoying it.
What is your journey becoming sober like?
Like, I stopped drinking because it was turning me into a person that I didn't love and turning me into somebody who I didn't want to be. And I could sort of see the people around me start to abuse alcohol in a way that I just didn't want that to be my life. But then there's other people where they can't wake up in the morning without having alcohol to function. So I think for each person, the way that they're going to go through it is different.
What were your first few days of being sober like?
Oh my God, it's actually kind of cute. My last drink was on downtown Disney on my honeymoon with my husband, and we both went to this like tacky tiki bar, and we both got drinks, and I just like took a sip of mine and I went, I think I'm done. And he's like, for today or like ever? And I went, I think forever. I think I'm just done drinking. I think I'm over it, and I think I just don't want to be this person anymore, and I think I'm just done. And he went, okay. And I was like, you can still drink the whole vacation. He's like, I plan to. And so he, every time we went out, he was just super respectful. And I spent my whole honeymoon sober, and that was the last drink I ever had, downtown Disney. So it was a kind of nice way to start it, because I wasn't in an area where it really promotes drinking. It was in Disney where you're just happy. So it was for me, it was easier, but it was when I had to come back and start working again that the challenges started, because I was already surrounded by all those people who put the pressure on you to drink.
Right.
That's just my personal journey.
People who would like drink every day and can't function without it, that would be a bit of a different experience, I think, than what the three of us have. And they would have like a physical kind of withdrawal from it. But I mean, I would drink on weekends. So I mean, like I would go sober periods often. And I often would drink without any incident of any kind, even, individually. For me, it was more of just a decision of, I'm not liking where this is going. I don't feel like this is bringing good things to my life anymore. It was more about the external pressures and the peer pressures, and then even pressures within myself of like, am I gonna like not be, edgy enough if I don't drink? Do I need that like chaos to like be creative? The answer was no. I don't. Yeah. And you can live like a artistic, creative life that isn't chaotic. And I think that's important for people to know.
Like, some people need to hit rock bottom, and then some people don't.
Do you know what I was thinking about? Anastarzia, you didn't have a lot of drinking in your family. Is that correct?
Alcohol was not present in our home while we were children. And so to this day, none of my mom's kids consume alcohol. And 100% I think it's because it wasn't present in our home. I have cousins and friends who all grew up in homes where alcohol was present daily. I even have friends that started drinking while we were in school, simply because they saw their parents doing it, and so they developed it as well.
I mean, it's interesting for me. I kind of see both sides of it multiple sides of it, because my parents didn't ever drink in front of me growing up. And then I grew up to kind of be a party kid. I do know that before my parents had my brother and my sister and I, that my dad used to drink. He was a jazz musician in Cape Town in South Africa, so he was a performer too. And I know that he came to a really similar realization as me about, this isn't going in a good direction. This isn't bringing anything good to my life. In his case, he wanted to have a family. And so he made the same decision to cut it out. And it was interesting that I ended up going down a similar path to him regardless, even though I didn't see it modeled in front of me. What are your kind of family experiences with it like?
I grew up with my parents separated, and my father was always a social drinker. So was my mother. My dad did drink a bit more, but he was always with his buddies and everything, and it was never really an issue. I found that alcohol was very present in my peers, and that's, I guess, how I started drinking, was because it was very accessible to me, and they brought a lot of alcohol. It was very there with my peers.
My parents were definitely drinkers, but they could always really control themselves. I think they obviously drank a lot more in their youth. My mom is now like a bottle of wine. She is just like, she can crush a bottle of red wine in a blink. But my dad is more just like beer, but they don't get to the point where they did when I was a kid. But I don't think it was ever my parents' influence. I started drinking a lot, same as Boa. Boa's from Windsor, but I'm from the county. So I'm from Essex County, so we're a little trashier. So my prom party was in a soccer field, with tents everywhere, and outside, everybody had booze, holding all their bottles as they'd smoke their cigarettes. So I was always around binge drinking. So you wouldn't, because in Windsor, Monday to Friday, you don't touch alcohol. Really, there's no real reason to, because who really goes out? You may have a cocktail, but we would binge drink on Saturday nights. Saturday nights at the Loop. It's my favorite night of the week. We would go out to the Loop, and you would just drink as much as possible. You would just crush through as much as you can, get as hammered as you possibly could, and then barf all night, and then wake up the next morning and spend your Sunday hungover. But when I moved to Toronto was when my the binge drinking on Saturdays turned into something that I could do every day of the week. I could go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because there was always a party. There's always something to do. So I remember before I did drag, I knew in my head what event to go to on each night, and what I would get to drink every single one of those nights. And then when I started doing drag, and that became even more accessible because I didn't have to pay for any of it, I was just oh, this is just great. I was just I just get free booze all the time. I can walk into the bar and no cover, anything, and people are buying me alcohol. So I think that's kind of how it grew for me.
The LGBT plus community has higher rates of issues with alcohol. And I know there are a lot of reasons for that, homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, racism, misogyny, all of that. And something that I started to become conscious of when I was thinking about stopping drinking was, if I am drinking because of trauma related to one of those forces, like homophobia, and maybe, I was really badly bullied in school as a kid, and maybe I developed social anxiety, which means that when I started going to parties, I would drink to cope with that social anxiety or something like that. Is me engaging in that and falling into that trap, is it giving power to homophobia? Is it kind of surrendering to it in a way? Do you know what I mean? If homophobia controls us in so many ways, and I
feel like I just hit the bong.
Did you? I feel like homophobia, it affects us in so many ways that we can't control. And I felt like if I have control over this situation, do I want to give it another avenue to control me in my life? No, I kind of just want to step away from this.
I never thought of that. It's a good point, though.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah.
Yes. You develop a social anxiety because you don't want to go out because you're scared you're going to get your ass kicked, and a lot of people I find drink to be social. So that would make sense. Checks out. Solid fact. Wild. I feel like I hit the bong. It made my mind just go. I was whoa.
Well, yeah, because if these forces are the reason why our communities do it more, then are we giving them power by doing those things?
Yes. Fuck. Well, I'm happy I stopped drinking. Fuck homophobia. Yeah. Yeah. Took that power back.
Oh, you're drinking? Nice internalized homophobia, motherfucker.
Well, I'm not saying everyone who drinks is giving into that in any way.
But it's definitely a case for a lot of people.
Exactly. If you have issues with drinking that are related to those things, if you have the option to, not have that be a factor in your life, yeah, I don't want that to be a factor in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were drinking, how did you act? What was your demeanor like?
I was a mess. I would get one drink in and I would need to have a million. What do they say in AA? They say,
One is too many, 1,000's never enough.
yes. It's like I would start drinking, I would get messy, I would get loud, I would get rude. I would do drugs, I would do cocaine when I was drinking. And it would be really bad. And then it would go on, not just for a night, it would go on to the next day, to the day after. Like it was not good. Yeah.
Aeryn, you mentioned something. You said when people drink, sometimes they feel like a completely different person. Do you all feel that way, that you were different people when drinking? And did you not like the people that you were while you were drinking?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I was a dick. I was not nice. I was confrontational. I had this idea where I was just like, I was the most important person in that room, but in an arrogant way. And I didn't like the way that I would speak to people. I didn't like the way that I would hold myself. And I almost like being a little bit more reserved. And I found that it made me almost too extroverted, where I was kind of just like, I felt really too in your face, and I didn't like the choices and the way that I would speak to people and the way that I would treat people around me, because I always like to be kind and be sweet to people because that's the treatment that I want back. And I found when I was drinking, I wasn't that person. So that's why I sort of changed that narrative about myself.
I absolutely love the fact that you actually remember who you were while drinking. I have a lot of friends that drink, and a lot of them say, I don't recall anything from last night. I don't remember the person that I am when I'm drinking.
Well, I mean, it's not about you actively remembering, but it's like about what people say to you
Gotcha.
the next
Okay.
day, and like, well, you know, you said this to me, or this happened, and you're getting in fights with people, or you have to like always resolve something, and I was drunk isn't an excuse. That's not a good excuse when you get in a fight with someone, because those are feelings that you're actually feeling and things that you actually want to say, but the alcohol is a conduit to loosen you up to be able to say that. So you lose control and you turn into this different person. So it was more so that of people telling me what I was like. So I was just like, I don't like her. She's not fun.
As a DJ and as an event planner, as my career was getting bigger as I was doing it for longer, that it would eventually be the case that I would have either like a gig or an event almost every day of the weekend. So while I wasn't really a big day drinker or a week drinker, that I would be drinking like 3 times a weekend when I would have gigs. And I wasn't a daily drinker, but I was an over drinker. A lot of like lost phones, a lot of mystery bruises, a lot of questionable gentlemen, a lot of
The text messages.
The text messages.
For
A lot of forgetting names, and then people think you're a jerk because you like forget
or just forgetting
names
who
and
they were
experiences.
entirely.
Exactly.
And you meet them and you're like, we've met? Great.
Yeah. And they think it's because you don't care, but it's because
You weren't there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I learned to say, instead of "it's nice to meet you," it's "good to see you." Because I used to get in a lot of trouble with that.
Usually when we have this conversation about being sober, I don't know how to word it. People say, how long have you been sober? And I'm like, I'm a non-drinker. I've always been a non-drinker. So is it okay to say I've been sober my entire life? But that's just my story. I've never been a drinker.
So you've never touched alcohol?
I have. When I was 18, was my first experience with a bear. And
Beer.
with a bear.
With a bear, like, I was like, hot. What did he give you?
A bear.
But then I was like, oh, beer. Okay, I got it.
The pronunciation.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, he gave me a sip of it, and I was like, why do people drink this shit?
Yeah, beer's gnarly,
This
though.
tastes like shit. And then a few years later, I think I was about 25, I was at a party, and a friend gave me, in the Caribbean, rum punch is a thing. And
Sounds delicious.
This is fucking awesome, man.
girl. And so they had two types of punch. One was virgin and one was rum punch. And he knew I'm not a drinker. And so I went to get some punch and he gave me the rum punch instead.
On purpose?
On purpose. Yeah.
Cut that man out of your life.
So he gave me the rum punch, and the next thing I know, because he gave me 2 cups of it, the next thing I knew, I woke up in the front yard on someone's car. No clue how I got there.
On someone's car?
On someone's car hood. Legit.
What was in that punch? You only had 2?
2 cups of it, yeah. And outside of that, the third time I had alcohol was during Christmas. It was a cup of Baileys. And that was probably 5 years after that.
And did you wake up on the
since.
ceiling, like, naked?
No, girl, that had so much
Santa
ice and cream. Yeah, no, it was really watered down, so.
Do you think that from that experience you thought, I don't want to do this anymore?
100%. From the first 2 experiences, I was totally over it. The beer tastes like complete shit. And then waking up on someone's car hood, legit, really? Is it what we're doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no. Yeah. Those were definitely determining factors why I shouldn't drink.
When the audience tries to buy you a shot, what's that like?
That's very easy. Oh, thank you, I don't drink.
Are they
And if I'm
responsive?
working with another queen, she just takes it. Legit. Like, I'll be like, Jada, and she'll just chug it for me. Yeah, legit.
Okay. And what about you two?
I do this thing where I will like stop them and I'll like make them like open their mouth and I'll just pour it in their mouth. Rather than
I've done that. One time I did it and she closed her mouth, so I poured it all over her face. I was like, why did you close your mouth? She's like, it's vodka. I was like, then why were you gonna give it to me? Yeah, bitch.
So what do you think makes a good party?
So I think as long as everyone's like having fun, everyone's being respectful, everybody's like, there's good music, it's good vibes, everyone's happy, I think that's a really good event for me, at least. And then if someone's a dick, just yeet them out the fucking door.
Like she says, not everybody struggles with alcohol. Some people can drink responsibly. And so I agree, for me, there needs to be, even though I don't drink, there needs to be some level of alcohol present because that's how some people enjoy themselves, you know. So, and I'm a bit older, and so for me, a good party includes good conversation. Like legit, I love having a good conversation.
This is a party for you right now.
Yeah.
This is a party.
This is a party for all of us. We
Yeah.
haven't been around other people.
I know.
Yeah.
Sex.
No, snacks.
Oh, snacks.
Snacks and then sex. Sex and then snacks, actually.
I don't know if I could ever do snacks at a party after these past like year and a half.
What do you mean by
Open that other
snack?
people can
Communal?
touch.
Like
Communal?
snacks.
Oh,
Do not
literal
touch that. I will
snacks.
bring my
Oh.
own little chip bag.
Yeah.
True.
But you know what I do find that there isn't a lot of options for sober people in these event spaces. Like it's like a bottle of water, a Coke, and a slap on the ass, and that's about all you get, you know? Or a Red Bull.
How did you find you were after you got sober?
I got quieter, but I wasn't all too angry with that because I felt like I was getting a little too boisterous. But I did get quieter. I did lose, I wouldn't say lose friends, but I did lose connections with people that weren't substantial because there's friends and then there's drinking buddies.
Right.
And I found my relationships were 90% drinking buddies and then a very small percentage of actual friends who gave a shit about you. So I lost a lot of drinking buddies. Like there's people that I probably have not seen in 3 years. And like, but it's almost for the better because those people were the kind of people where like, when you would go to the bar and stuff, when you did get sober, they'd be like, oh, well, do you want to go to get a shot? And you'd be like, oh, sorry, I don't drink anymore. Like, but I'll come and we'll hang out. And they'd be like, ugh, why don't you drink? And they'd be rude about it. And it's just like, oh, we're not friends.
Yeah.
You're a fucking cock.
And
like,
you don't care about me.
Yeah, you don't give a shit about me. You just give a shit if I'm going to buy you a shot after you buy me a shot. That's the only relationship this is.
Or that you're standing next to the drag queen or the DJ or whatever.
Yeah,
you want to
they care
like
about the
feel,
stature, too.
you want to look close to me or something.
Yeah. I found there was always people too who would only come to the shows to get you wasted. Their sole purpose of coming to that show was to give you shots and see how drunk you would
Really?
get. It would make me crazy. Well, those people obviously don't come to my shows anymore, but I found that they would come to get you trashed, to drink with you and get you wasted because they found it entertaining to see how drunk they could get the drag queen.
I used to love that. Oh my god. I would invite
hated
them.
it.
Hey, you coming tonight?
Well, yeah.
Don't want to spend all my show fee on shots.
I mean, it was great because you got free booze all night, but it sucked when you get home and you're taking a dump after the fucking show, and then all that Jaeger hits you, and you're just like, I'm gonna barf. So you're taking a dump and barfing. So it's just like it's
You're
a lot.
so glamorous.
Do you share the same story? People stopped coming to your show once you got sober?
No, people kept coming to my shows, and actually, I think more people started coming to my shows because I got funnier and I got more interesting and I got wittier and things became more polished.
Because I found when you sobered up, you started to really clean it up, like with your drag, and you started to really elevate.
I was drinking so much, and it was so bad, and I was just doing drag like such a mess. And then it's like once I quit that, I had spending money because I wasn't spending on drugs and alcohol, and I was creative, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything. I might as well become more passionate in my drag. And it's like it just switched. It, like, drag became like my addiction. It was such a labor of love. All I was thinking about was fucking drag. Like, all I was thinking about, like, what can I do to be better, and this, that, and the other thing. So I was really happy to have that kind of creative outlet to fall back on.
I found that my work got better too, and I found that it became more about the work than about the party.
100%. And because I don't know, I only focus on the party. Like, I never really thought, oh, there's two sides to the party. Like, I was just always ready to go and get messed up and hopefully not black out, but I would normally black out. So it was, especially in the beginning, it was a bit difficult in the beginning, but like, I was like, this is a job. I go to my job, I do my work, I go home, and that's it. I get a slice of pizza or a whole pizza with some wings maybe on the way back. I take my shit off and I watch Family Guy and eat my entire pizza by myself.
And baby wings.
Yeah, and my wings, which I love those pizza chicken wings.
So how do you resist temptation when it comes along?
I live across the street from the wine rack. Like, I almost daily, I'm thinking like, okay, I could just go do it once. Just spend $20, get a big bottle of wine, throw it back, and just black out and wake up and whatever. Like, but I can't. Like,
What stops you?
well, for today, I didn't want to show up here hungover. So seriously, I was like laughing with a friend about it. I was like, I can't. There's no way. Like, imagine if I showed up and I'm fucking hungover. Like, that'd be horrible. Like, I just can't, because like, it would just ruin me, and like, it would put me in such a dark place, and
Well, you'd be starting over.
I would be starting over.
Mm-hmm. You've become so strong over such a long period of time that imagine taking that one giant step back to start over would be so disheartening. I mean, it happens. There's a lot of people, because sobriety is never a linear path. For a lot of people, it's like
sure.
ups and downs, it's hills and valleys. So, I mean, if you do slip up, it's totally fine. But that almost like sense of being so discouraged with yourself on if you do slip up, I think would be something to really deter you from starting again. You know?
A big part of me wanting to get sober was I have depression. I take antidepressants every day. And then I know that alcohol is a depressant. So I'm taking antidepressants and then drinking a depressant 3 times a weekend and being surprised that I don't feel good.
What do you mean I'm still sad?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So when that hit me, I was like, oh yeah, of course. And now that I'm sober, I mean, hangovers are terrible for mental health. You feel like garbage when you're hungover. And now I've been sober for a year, which means I haven't been hungover in a year, which is amazing. Like, I love waking up every morning just feeling like, I won't say 100, because like sometimes you wake up and you're tired or whatever, but there's nothing.
So you open the blinds.
Yeah, there's nothing like chemical getting in the way of me feeling great in the morning.
Yeah. You don't projectile vomit after you've eaten a bite of a banana when you're at work. It's really embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, have you seen like an improvement to your mental health?
That work begins once you start getting sober. So the sobriety journey is one thing, but then there's also the mental health journey that comes after it.
Juice is completely right about quitting drinking and your demons kind of coming out, because that, holy shit, I was not ready for that. Buckle up, bitch. Oh my God, it was really, really crazy to navigate myself and identify what was wrong with me, and because I just did not know. When I quit drinking, shortly after I started getting anxiety attacks, and it got really bad for like before Drag Race, and then a few months after Drag Race, up until about now. So it's like learning that, like learning my triggers and learning that it's not just like some fake thing that's in your head. It is like a physical thing. Like I would get an anxiety attack and I would feel tired, fucking exhausted. My stomach would hurt, like I could vomit. My neck would get tight, and I would get like I could just burst out in tears in any second. And you feel a sense of dread coming over you. And I never used to feel that because I was drinking all the time. And boy, do I fucking miss it. No, I'm just joking.
What are your support networks like?
It's great. No, it's really great. Like, yeah, well, especially because I was on Canada's Drag Race. Like, I have a larger fan base, so I'm able to share my milestones and everything publicly, and the amount of love I get from that is absolutely incredible. My close friends are supportive. My partner, who is also almost 2 years sober this month, is like so supportive. He's my biggest like motivator. He is like my best friend and like the best person ever. And I'm so lucky to have him.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, my partner also stopped drinking when I did. He wasn't a big drinker, but he just made that decision that he was going to stop if I stopped. I think, yeah, having sober community around you is really important. Like whether you find it through like a 12-step program or just through, maybe talking about it publicly on social media like some of us do. Having people to check in with who are not like afraid to talk about the subject, who don't kind of tiptoe around it, that's really helpful. And I think when, like a good way to show up for someone is if they're struggling to be understanding, right? And not kind of approach them with judgment.
I find too sometimes you end up having to like rework your friendships and rework your relationships with people because a lot of them were based on alcohol. So right now I have my husband who's like insanely supportive of everything I do. So that's such a blessing. But even like my family and all the people who I'm surrounded with, they just know me as someone who doesn't drink. I've actually had moments where I've like, in the past like 2 years where I've just kind of been like, should I start drinking again? Like, am I mature enough as a person to be able to reintroduce it back into my life? And literally everybody that I'm surrounded with is just like, don't be a fucking dumbass. And I'm like, okay. And they're just like, you're thinking stupid. You're just feeling left out. You just want to be involved. You just want to be involved with people who are drinking because you think it's social. There's so many more avenues for you to continue not drinking and being happy with your life. So that's really nice to have those people around me where it's like, I even know if I am feeling like I'm going to slip up, they're still there for me to kind of like slap me back into place.
Mm-hmm. Something that I love about what we're doing is that it's peers, and it's like, it's not your parents lecturing you. It's not somebody judging you. It's not, a school assembly that you've been dragged into. It's like, it's cool people from TV and like people who have like maybe a little bit of street cred.
We're cool. Yeah. Oh my God.
Obviously.
You're a fun girl.
I'm living for street cred.
You know what I mean? It's not like an after school special.
And it's nice to talk so candidly about it.
Yeah.
I find that it's sometimes you don't really have a lot of people to just talk to when it's not like you're on a podcast and you're being like kind of interviewed. Mm-hmm. This felt really chill. And just like we were just like hanging out at a bar.
Being here too. We are
hanging out at a bar.
We are hanging out at a bar.
Which is like so nice and like the best bar, like the best.
I haven't been to Glad Day in so long.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that experience is the best teacher, and I learn from other people's experiences. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate being here because I don't know much about alcoholism, and so to hear everybody's journey, it is truly inspiring.
Do you want a cocktail?
Sure.
Let's get fucked up.
Relapse.
I'm just joking. He was still like hygienic though. Like he was like
He didn't shit on your dick is what you're saying.
No, he could have though. I would have been back. You're disgusting.
Disgusting.
If you're disgusting. If you're not ready to talk about shit, you're not ready to put your dick in someone's ass.
Yeah.
That's what my mom always said.
Your mom
Your mom? Oh, girl.
My mom's gonna watch this if you put that in and be like, what? I did not say that.